Hello, it's Martin here with Danny. After we just lost 3-1 at Uxbridge on a cold Tuesday night, thoughts on the game, mate?
For the first 20 minutes is probably the reason why we lost the game. I think just didn't start, didn't even come out of the changing room. I've got to say, fair play. We know Uxbridge start really fast. We know they score a high proportion of their goals, in the first 20-25 minutes, and we just couldn't live with them. Just couldn't live with them. Silly mistakes again, letting the ball bounce, letting the winger drive in, not putting a foot in, not putting a tackle in, giving a soft penalty away. Was it soft? I think it was. But obviously you don't get them decisions when you're on the run that we're on. And then, they were fabulous, and then we weren't. And then the second goal, like I said, it's littered with mistakes again. But like I said, we had to tweak things, change things, to stop us getting a battering, because it felt like, it was the Alamo. And like I say, I'm full of praise for Uxbridge, Danny and Uxbridge, because they were far better than us in the first 20-25 minutes. And of course the game's got taken away from us, and then we had to make changes. Second half was a bit more of an event. I thought it was obviously a lot better second half, but obviously when we're trying to chase the game, they hit us on the break. And it's just where we're at the moment, Martin. Unfortunately, it's been a grueling month, like a real tough month. We've been away from home, not been at home at all. I'm not saying that's making any big differences and things like that, but of course I think it does. 5 games away, 5 games on AstroTurf, and it's taken its toll. Like I said, 1 game at home in a month, which is the Barks and Bucks game, and it is. We just looked, a shell of a side that obviously started the season, but it's down to me, down to my staff, obviously, to get the players going again. There's a wonderful crop of players in the change room. I'll keep saying that. I will keep saying that, because I'm not a manager that will lambast people, publicly and things like that. That stays in our change room. But we need to, we need to come together a little bit more and obviously get things right, obviously, for Saturday.
Yeah, as you mentioned, I think the first big point of the game was the penalty, and I thought it was particularly soft. But as you mentioned, we don't get those sort of penalties on a run like this.
No. Like I said, I was perplexed. Obviously Saturday, obviously with officiating, I'm perplexed again tonight. The reason we didn't get beat because of the referee tonight, let's make no bones about that. But like I said, I don't think we've had a good official pretty much all season long. But that he wasn't the reason why we lost. The reason why we lost is because we just didn't come out the change rooms for the first 20 minutes. And they're a good side. They're going to cause sides lots of problems. And they are gonna, they're gonna be. I think they could be big dark horses to even push the playoffs. That's how much I rate them. So, like I said, it's a bitter pill. I feel sorry for the fans that's come up here on a cold Tuesday night that's travelled. Because obviously we didn't keep them warm with our performances at all. I know it's not been good enough. I know all that. I don't have to sit there and be told. One thing it is with me. After I'll be a man and admit that obviously you have a wobbles and things like that, but we're determined more than ever, me, my staff and my players, to try and turn this round starting hopefully Saturday.
Yeah, and also, as you say, we've had 5 games on the spin on AstroTurf or plastic. I'm not a massive fan of it. I think it's a 2-tier league, but it does have a massive impact. I don't think that always reflects on some of the...
I don't think I've had like I said, this league is full of AstroTurf now, so you have to get used to it. You have to play it on it. We've done really well down at Havant, and then since then, not so well. So, it is. But I think the big thing, like I say, travelling, away from home, pretty much all month long, having 1 game at home on a Tuesday night in a Barks and Bucks, it has taken its toll. And I'm a hard taskmaster. We train all the time. Maybe I need to look at that a little bit. But it is. It has taken. But once again, I'm not taking anything away at all. I thought, Uxbridge were fabulous where we weren't. Like I said, we go back to the drawing board. We work hard Thursday night, and all I can ask is, I know the people that travelled up here tonight, travelled to Gospel, stick with us, stick at it, because I know good things will come from this squad, because they are a talented bunch. And like I said, we don't mean to make mistakes. We don't mean to, we don't mean to get out of bed in the morning and not be the best version of ourselves. My players do. And like I said, it's down to me and Stu and Gaz and Hobbo, Stylesy, the girls, to get it right. And, we will get it right.
I'm sure we will. And as you mentioned, we're at home on Saturday to Plymouth Parkway, a game that's historically full of goals always. So let's
yeah,
hope
and
there's
at
some
the
more.
moment in time, I take a scruffy 1-0 win off a bum backside and it goes in. But yeah, of course, then they picked up. Obviously, they've had some good results as well. Obviously, they beat Gosport the other week, didn't they, at home? So yeah, there's no game in this league it's easy. It's so tough. This is a real tough division. I don't think there's any real standout people that can walk away with the league or anything like that. Every game is a game. It's probably the strongest this league's been for a long time. And yeah, it is. It's grinding. It's hard. It's unforgiving. It's hard work. But that's everything that we do football for. So, I've been in worse moments in my life in management. I have been in a lot worse times and tougher times. But one thing that has been apparent is obviously the support that the committee's shown and obviously the boss lady, boss man, and Norman and Passy and people like that. So it's massively for us to get right. And like I said, we get back on the training pitch on Thursday and then we go from there.
Yeah, well, unlucky tonight, Danny. Thanks for your time as always, mate.
Cheers, mate.